Hey and welcome. Quick question. If you're still spending half your afternoon turning customer interviews and feedback into insights, you're doing it the hard way. Not because you don't know what you're doing and not because you're missing some kind of magical research technique, but because you're doing human work that a machine can do way faster than you can. And the longer you stay in that loop of transcripts, highlighting, tagging, and sticky notes, the less time you'll spend on the things that actually matter, which is thinking. Because as a product manager and a leader, your value isn't in transcribing calls or taking meeting notes. Your value is in the interpretation of those, your judgment, and deciding what the product or service should do next. So in this video, I'm going to show you a simple AI-powered workflow that takes you from messy customer conversations and feedback into clear insights and next steps in minutes, not hours. No color coding systems, no Notion databases that look impressive but never get finished, no drowning in sticky notes pretending it's deep research, just a practical workflow that actually works. And all the prompts shown in this video are going to be in the description, so please feel free to use them. Hi, I'm Will, and I help businesses deliver smarter using AI and people. All right, let's get into it. The real problem with customer interviews. So let's be honest, customer interviews are gold. They're one of the best sources of product insight you'll ever get. You'll hear real frustrations, real workarounds, and the language that customers actually use to describe their problems. And that's where good product strategy comes from. But there's a lot of admin around these interviews and feedback, and sometimes it can descend into chaos. You end up with transcripts that are insanely long, messy notes that made perfect sense yesterday, but not so much today. And there's 15 different highlights that all seem important. And by the end of it, your brain is fried before you've even started thinking about what to do with the product. And that's the real issue. You're spending your energy processing information instead of making sense of it. So the shift what we want is simple. AI processes, you decide. Let the machine handle the heavy lifting and we focus on the insight. Here's the workflow that I use. And it works whether you're doing customer interviews, stakeholder interviews, usability sessions, support call analysis, anything where people talk or give their feedback and you need to find the insights. Okay, let's go. Step 1, drop in the raw input. This first step is the easiest part. You take your transcripts, notes, call summaries, and you paste it directly into AI. No cleaning, no formatting, no prepping it. This is important because people often think they need the perfect input, and you don't. AI is extremely good at messy text. If anything, the messier the better. Because the goal here isn't presentation. The goal is to offload that cognitive load onto AI. So instead of you reading thousands of words, trying to make sense of it all, you let AI scan the whole entire conversation instantly. You can think of it as like hiring a research assistant that can read everything in 5 seconds. Step 2, the first pass analysis. Now we're going to ask AI to do the first layer of analysis. Instead of manually tagging themes like people used to do in spreadsheets or sticky notes, we can give it a prompt. Something like this. Pull out reoccurring themes, pain points, desires, and jobs to be done, and group them clearly. What AI is doing here is pattern recognition. It's scanning thousands of words and identifying repeated ideas. And more importantly, this does not replace your thinking. It replaces the part of the research that takes the time, the sorting, the clustering, the pattern finding. So now instead of starting with chaos, you're going to start with a structure. Step 3, extract emotional quotes. This is the step that kind of gets overlooked and is underrated. But these insights are very powerful because quotes make things believable, especially when you're presenting to stakeholders and senior management. If you say something like customers struggle to find their order history, people will nod politely and move on to the next point. But if you show them a quote from a user saying, honestly, it takes forever to find my previous orders and I usually give up and message support, that lands in a more emotional aspect and people take notice of that. So instead of hunting through transcripts trying to find these quotes, we're going to ask AI to extract the emotional language. Things like frustration, confusion, workarounds, unmet needs, excitement or desire. This turns AI into something closer to a research assistant. It highlights the moments where the user is actually feeling the problem, and those moments are gold. Step 4, scale across the interviews. Here's where it kind of gets interesting because One interview or feedback is anecdotal. 5 interviews and feedbacks, you can start to show patterns. 10 interviews and feedback, well, you start to see signals. The problem is normally analyzing that many conversations takes hours. And this is where we can use AI. We can drop in multiple interviews into one prompt and ask it something like this. Compare patterns across all of these interviews, show frequency, contradictions, and emerging opportunities. Now you start seeing things like problems mentioned by 8 out of 10 customers, different ways people solve the same issue, gaps in what users say and what they actually do. This is the step where the research starts turning into a strategy, because now you're not dealing with individual comments, you're seeing patterns in actual real life behavior. Step 5, turn these themes into product insights. This is all good stuff so far, but we really need to make it something can deliver product value, because themes are interesting, insights move roadmaps. So the final step is turning analysis into something actionable. Ask AI something like this. Turn these themes into actionable insights, including opportunities, risks, and recommended next steps. This gives you a structured output like pain point, impact, opportunity, and recommendation. Again, this doesn't replace your judgment. It just gives you a structured starting point. Now, it's up to you to challenge it, to refine it, to prioritize it. But instead of staring at a blank page, you've already have something that you can edit and use. Let's do a quick example. Let's say a customer says this in an interview. It takes forever to find my previous orders. Honestly, I usually give up and message support. AI can convert this into something like the pain point. Users struggle to find order history. Impact, frustration and increased support tickets. Opportunity, improve navigation and introduce predictive order search. Supporting quote, I usually give up and message support. Recommendation, prioritize improving order lookup in the next iteration. You see, that's just not a note, that's roadmap fuel, and it only takes a few seconds. Why this actually matters? The biggest mistake that product teams make with research is over-processing, spending hours organizing notes, but then not allowing a lot of time to interpret them. AI flips that. You spend less time sorting and more time deciding what to do. And that's where the real value sits. Not in documentation, but in decision making. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it's time for me to love you and leave you. And you found it useful, please send me a message. Don't be shy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.